Hi everyone, and welcome to the third presentation, Chapter 3, Conducting a Goal Analysis. This will go along with the third chapter in the Dick and Carey book, just kind of giving you an idea of what the goal analysis is, and will also help you with your first assignment that will be due soon. So the purpose of this material is to determine the components of the instructional goal via a goal analysis. The big question I guess you would ask yourself is, what exactly would learners be doing if they were demonstrating that they could perform the goal? So let's say you take a 2-week cooking class. If you think you're signing up for an advanced class in cooking, but spend the first week learning how to use measuring cups, then the second week probably won't be as enjoyable. If that first week was basic knowledge that you already knew, you're gonna sort of lose your motivation maybe, and won't be all that excited about coming back that next Monday to learn about whatever the topic may be. So the idea is understanding the doing and the knowing part of the design, with knowing what the goal will be at the end. What are you going to do? How will you demonstrate the goal at the end? So some terms here that you probably should be familiar with the instructional analysis. Instructional analysis set of procedures that identify the steps to perform a goal. And what I think are neat in this chapter are the subordinate steps. Those are the skills that may not be all that important all by themselves, but are necessary to be learned in order to get to the goal itself, to become more advanced. So these are the little steps that you have to kind of think through in your head and write out as you're diagramming this stuff for this course. And then the goal statement, what the learner will be able to do, which we mentioned earlier, just kind of coming back to that. That's sort of your first big assignment, is to identify the goal and analyze the instruction. Now, there's two steps in the goal analysis, and these have to be done well, and the time has to be put into these because the goal statement will guide everything. So once you get going on this, you'll see how important the goal statement is. So let's see. That's where the goals, the subordinate skills, come into play. When we're having the goal statement and you're diagramming the steps, the subordinate skills will help to achieve that goal. So all in all, we call this instructional analysis, and this guides your goal analysis and subordinate skill analysis. So when you're doing the instructional goal statement, you want to do a few things. You want to identify the learner. Who is it? Maybe you know who the learner is because you're in a K-12 setting and you know the context of your situation or the age level, education level. Maybe you don't, though. If you're being hired from an outside firm, you might not know the learner that you're working with. What should the learner be able to do? You're going to want to understand the work environment or the context. Is this occurring in the classroom? Is it on a factory floor? You're going to need to identify what tools are necessary, and maybe in a classroom setting that could be a computer or a calculator. Maybe in a factory setting, some sort of machine. But you need to know what's necessary and what you'll have to have, and then some sort of evaluation criteria. When you're conducting the initial analysis there, Gagnier's taxonomy of learning comes into play, and you're going to want to identify these skills and attitudes that may or may not apply to the task itself. So you could see here that the elements of learning are here, and for instance, the verbal information. Verbal information matters. Are they going to have to state knowledge? Are they going to need to know the 50 states? You'll see a list maybe. Do you describe something? Do you state it? With the intellectual skills, I'm kind of jumping around out of order here, they require some sort of cognitive activity. Will the learner have to form a concept, solve a problem, apply some sort of rule? The psychomotor skills, motor skills on the bottom, consist of the coordination between mental and physical activity. Like, for instance, do you have to pan a video camera, or do you have to learn how to chop a vegetable, or whatever it may be? The attitudes, those are what the learner will choose to do or not do. Attitudes are our tendency to make choices and decisions. And then the cognitive strategies, this is, as if you're a teacher, this is probably the one we focus on the most. This is the problem solving and thought process. This is the way we think about and ensure our learning is occurring. So this is how you're mentally organizing material, remembering things, applying it. So as you listen to this presentation here, how are you putting it together in your own head? How are you organizing it? How are you going to recall it later on to actually apply it to the task at hand? So that would be like the cognitive strategy. And we do a lot of this in the K-12 setting, trying to apply it to whatever the situation may be. When you are looking at the goal analysis, and you're looking at how to achieve the goal, and you have to think about how long it's going to take to go from one goal to another. So don't forget, for this class, you're creating a print-based module. It's going to be real simple, and as you look in the syllabus, and as I'm sure you reviewed it, your goal statement should be around having the learner do some sort of print-based module, and that print-based module should take about 30 minutes for the learner to take. Now, in this goal analysis, this is where you're coming up with the step-by-step steps to guide the learner from one thing to the next, exactly as the person should be doing it. So as you can see there, each step should have an observable outcome, and you depict those with the squares and the numbers, sequential. If you have a diamond, as you see in step 3, that's a decision-making process that the learner has to take. And in this case, if it was a yes or no, they would go down one path or another. If there's roadblocks that the learner will take, maybe you provide the alternative steps. But typically, you're laying it's just like the roadmap that you're going to lay out. Now it sounds straightforward, this step, that step, and decision making or an alternative, but in reality, it may be a little more difficult as you start getting into your goal, because you really do have to think through it quite a bit. As you're getting into these goals, space often becomes an issue, a challenge, and the way you connect from line to line is you use the letter M in a circle. So as we're going from goal 7, but we run out of paper, run out of room on that line, you use the letter M, as you can see there, and then connect on. Dotted lines mean that it's possible to go back to an earlier step. So as you see step 4, if the decision answer was yes, you could potentially go back to 2 once you figure it out and learn it, and then then you go to no, or whatever it may be. So this is all presented fairly clearly in the Dick and Carey in your reading. I just wanted to just touch on some of the things that you'll be looking at here as you're figuring this out through your analysis. Typically, the number of steps that you would have would be anywhere between 5 steps as a minimum to 15 steps as a maximum for about 1 hour of instruction, say. More than 15 steps, you may have too much stuff being analyzed. And if you only have 2 or 3 steps, then there's probably not enough. So just use that as a guide. So as you get into this and as you submit work and I review it, I'll kind of point you in a direction whether it's enough or not. So just kind of giving you an idea here. The sub-steps are neat. I like the sub-steps for whatever reason. This is the detail that maybe may have to go into a certain step. More detail ensures that the learner will get all the required skills. Sorry, my W button was sticking. So you could see that in step 2, 2.1, 2, 3, and 4, they're just sub-steps of whatever the task is. Maybe you're learning how to boil water, and you might want to have a sub-step to fill the pan with water or turn the burner on, or whatever the other steps may be. The best strategy I think I could recommend, and your book talks about this too, is to mentally walk through the process. Think about each step and test yourself. What would you need to do? What do you need to know? Ask a friend, a spouse, coworker. Hey, how would you do this? If you had to boil or make an egg, boil an egg, how would you do it? And let them list out the steps and just see, are you on the same page as they would be? I know that's a simplistic example, but you can get the idea. Refer to books and manuals. Watch people doing it. Watch how someone fries an egg or whatever it may be. And that may not be possible depending on, if you've never been in the situation or the setting, you may not be able to actually observe. So that concludes a little bit of this chapter in chapter 3. That's just a real brief overview. I just wanted to touch on some of the big ideas that I thought were relevant, and this should kind of help you as you're working on assignment 1. And anyway, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Let me know. The next presentation will kind of get you into the subordinate skills in entry behaviors. That's going to be chapter 4. So good luck as you're putting together the first assignment on the goal statement and goal analysis. Check out your syllabus, and it'll give you everything that you need to know.